Hey, what up everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you here today as I'm driving into work. I got a 30-minute commute each way. I think we've talked about this a couple times since I started my new job. Last night on Monday Night Raw, in the main event scene with none other than Triple H and Seth Rollins coming out and battling out. I think this is our first confirmation that this match is really going to be happening, that Seth Rollins is cleared to be able to come back and return and be a part of WrestleMania. Definitely, when I think about Triple H versus Seth Rollins, in my opinion, I think this was what was penciled in to be the main event of WrestleMania 32. When Rollins was injured and wasn't able to make his return to be a part of the card, I think that Roman Reigns filled in for Seth, and they did Roman versus Triple H. I can honestly tell you that when I look at the WrestleMania 33 card, Triple H versus Seth Rollins is my main event. It is the match that I care the most about. I honestly think they have a few matches on the card that, Roman Reigns versus Undertaker, let's not be kidding me. I mean, I don't really care about the match, but when it comes down to it, I don't think I really cared about Batista versus Undertaker either at WrestleMania 23, and that's a fucking badass match. That match is definitely a top 10 WrestleMania of all time match. I can see Roman playing Batista here and having a really good night with Undertaker and just balls out, giving it all they got, because more than likely, Undertaker came back and he worked a lot of matches last year, but we haven't seen him since WrestleMania last year. He's doing the one and done sort of thing again this year. He'll make some appearances. Hopefully we'll see him next week when Raw is in Brooklyn in the Barclays Center. But there's no guarantees. They didn't hype it up at all, but we did get the we did get the gong last night, even though Shawn Michaels answered it. I don't know what they were doing with Shawn Michaels coming out there and telling Roman that he was with him, because the fans turned on Shawn Michaels. But I don't know. It seems like I'm talking about the Roman match more than anything else, and I wanted to talk about the damn Triple H and Seth match. We've been waiting on this match for well over a year. It seemed like Seth Rollins was having a whole lot of problems when he was in the Authority with Triple H. You could really tell that they were building up to a match that was going to happen at WrestleMania 32. The whole deal with Triple H trying to protect him as champion, and he didn't want to be protected. He wanted to be able to go out and show how good he was. He wanted to be able to show that he was the man that was carrying WWE. But they had Kane, they had what do they call those goofs? Nydia, Jamie Noble, and what the hell was the other guy's name? I can't remember. But they were like his own little personal security team. And then, of course, you had Big Show out there as well. I don't know. It worked as a faction for a while. It got you to the point where you really hated it. But Rollins kept on having disqualification win, cheating win, week after week, and on pay-per-views. And he wasn't really getting clean wins. It just was this deal to get tons of heat. But the guy was a fucking awesome wrestler, and he is a fucking awesome wrestler now. It's a shame that he had that injury. We didn't get the him versus Joe match. Both of them are going to be around in WWE for a good amount of time. I'm sure that rivalry will resurrect sooner than later. Maybe they'll even do it after WrestleMania, unless one of them gets traded with all these trade talks that are going down. It's supposed to be after WrestleMania, trying to liven things up. Try to put some of the guys that are really over on SmackDown over on Raw, because Raw is really dipping in the shits. I don't know why they can't realize that it's just the fact that it's a fucking 3-hour show and nobody wants to sit there for that fucking long. I mean, it's a burden. I mean, go back to 2. It worked forever, and it'll work again. It's just too much for the wrestlers. It's too much for the creative staff. It's too much for the people that are working the show. It's too much for the people that are being at the show. I can remember one time going to a SmackDown taping. They taped SmackDown. They taped Main Event. They taped superstars. They taped a ton of shit. And I mean, on this SmackDown, we had CM Punk and Brock Lesnar having a fight in the ring. The Rock came down and delivered a promo. I think that was the same show, but that doesn't really make sense, because when I saw The Rock, I think he was hyping up that CM Punk match. But regardless, a bunch of shit went down, and the taping was just so damn long. I remember that I was falling asleep sitting in the arena, and that's the way most people feel when they're watching Monday Night Raw, and it shouldn't feel like that. They should be feeling pumped, sitting on the edge of their seat, wondering who's going to come out next, instead of, I bet Jinder Mahal's coming out next. But I think this is going to be a great match. I said a while ago that when Triple H, when he started, being the CFO character, being the guy in charge, I said that he was more than likely going to be the new sort of Vince McMahon, where he would have a match every once in a while. We're probably not going to see the last Triple H match for a long, long time, but he probably wouldn't win any matches, and that doesn't hurt my feelings. Definitely Rollins beating Triple H at Mania is going to be the kickoff of Rollins being one of the main guys on Monday Night Raw. I mean, even if you have, AJ Styles and Roman Reigns and, a whole bunch of main event guys, Rollins is always going to stand out. That guy has a whole lot of talent. He can wrestle just about any physical kind of style. He can high fly, he can brawl, he can do this and that. I guess there is a question right now. I don't see a guy with as high a stock as Rollins. This guy, was the champion for almost a whole year. I think that definitely they would have taken the title off sooner than later when he was on that run. He might even have lost at Survivor Series, but to be able to have a run with the championship from WrestleMania all the way to the Survivor Series is a damn good feat these days, because a pay-per-view comes around and it just doesn't turn out the way that they want it to. Sometimes they just switch the damn title to make that pay-per-view be memorable, and people not to think that they had a shitty-ass pay-per-view. But they just kept on plugging along with Rollins, and he'll get it again someday. I know that he won it and he lost it in seconds at Money in the Bank, but that was a whole deal to get the championship on Ambrose, because Ambrose was going to SmackDown, and they wanted to have SmackDown not be the B brand. They wanted them to have a WWE championship, the number one belt in the company, even though AJ had the run with it and he lost it to Cena. I mean, SmackDown's kicking some ass, but I still don't think people think of SmackDown as the A show. I think it's always just sort of there. People are still not tuning in. I don't know if it's because they made that show suck for so long, but they are still doing the whole deal. Where basically Raw is all about storylines and this, that, and the other, and SmackDown's just a flat out fucking wrestling show. And if you want to watch wrestling and you want to watch good wrestling, that's the place to be. But I'm looking forward to this. I guess now the question on TV is going to be, is Seth Rollins going to be able to wrestle at WrestleMania? I guess we still on the show haven't been able to say that he's cleared, and now here he is getting smacked with a crutch. So now they're going to have to act like maybe he's not going to be able to do it again. It was a pretty good reveal to see Rollins running down there with that crutch, and then once he got down there doing the whole Bret Hart turn. I know it's been done 1,000 times, but to me, the whole thing with Bret and Vince setting up WrestleMania 26 with them signing the contract and Bret acting like he had a broken leg but still wanted to fight him, I think that was fucking awesome. I love Vince's face reactions. WrestleMania 26, even though it was my first WrestleMania and I got those WrestleMania feel-good vibes, still one of the best WrestleManias of all time, top to bottom, honestly, in my opinion. A really good Money in the Bank match. Of course, you got Taker versus Shawn, Batista versus Cena delivered. The Bret versus Vince match sucked, but still give you some feel-goods to actually see him get back into the ring. Edge and Cena's a good match. No, not Edge and Cena. Edge and Jericho's a good match, but fun stuff. So I had fun talking wrestling with you guys. I'm really pumped about Rollins versus Triple H. I think it's gonna be a fucking great affair. Still don't have the vibes of missing WrestleMania this year. I think I'm gonna have some fun. I think I'm Going to be sitting at home with my new job on Sundays. I should be working 5 to 2. Should be able to, drive home, get some pizza delivered to the house, tell everybody to leave me the fuck alone, and just sit back and watch 17 hours of wrestling on the WWE network. I wonder if they're going to have another damn 3-hour pre-show. I don't need none of that shit in my life. Peace out, everybody.